Hello friends, this is Professor D.A. Kulkarni and welcome to all of you to the new topic called capital structure theories, in which first we are going to see the net income theory or net income approach. Look at the example. So this is the introduction. So first we'll try to understand what are the different capital structure theories. Mainly there are the two types of theories, traditional theory and modern theories. Traditional theory already we all have learned in the second semester of NBA. The separate topic was there, that is a designing of capital structure. In traditional theory, we used to calculate EPS under each of the financing option. And by following the format, EBIT minus interest is equal to earning before tax minus tax is equal to earning after tax minus preference dividend is equal to earning available to equity shareholders divided by number of equity shareholders. We used to get EPS. And on the basis of EPS, we used to take the decision. Accordingly, highest EPS we used to select for selecting appropriate capital mix. Sometimes, whenever price earning ratio is given, we also used to calculate probable market price, and then on the basis of probable market price, we used to take decision. So that is traditional theory. For traditional theory, already there are video lectures on this same YouTube channel of mine. There is a separate playlist called as financial management. So under the playlist of financial management, you will find the video lectures of traditional theory of capital structure design. In this video, we are going to see the modern theories. Under modern theories, there are mainly three theories. Net income approach, that is a NI approach, net operating income approach, that is a NOI, and Modigliani and Miller approach, that is MM. Out of that, today we are going to learn the first theory, that is a net income approach. Under net income approach, this theory is mainly used to calculate value of firm. So ultimately, we have to calculate value of firm by applying the net income approach. This theory is also called as relevance theory. It means capital structure decisions are relevant to the value of firm, market price of share, and overall cost of capital. It means that your capital structure design or capital mix are relevant to value of firm, market price of equity share, and overall cost of capital. It means that any change in capital mix, so if there is any change in the proportion of debt and equity, that will lead to change in value of firm, market price of equity share, and overall cost of capital. So whenever this composition changes, this is going to affect on three different factors, that is the value of firm, market price of equity share, and overall cost of capital that we have to learn. So first of all, this theory is based on certain assumptions. The first assumption is there are no taxes. So this approach considers that or assumes that there are no direct taxes, no income tax. Normally we know that EBIT less interest is equal to earning before tax, and earning before tax less tax is equal to earning after tax. And from this earning after tax, we used to consider as a profit available to shareholders. And when we deduct the preference share dividend out of that, that comes to profit available to equity shareholders. Now, this option says that this option considers that there are no taxes. So what will happen? This step will be omitted. This step will be omitted. So it means earning before tax is equal to earning after tax. And earning after tax means profit available to shareholders. So ultimately, EBIT minus interest is equal to profit available to shareholders. I'm again repeating, as there are no taxes, so earning before interest and tax minus interest is equal to earning before tax or earnings available to equity shareholders, and this we call it as a net income. As this is the approach, this is a net income approach. This approach is used to determine the value of the firm, and value of the firm is to be determined on the basis of net income. Means we have to find out the value of firm taking net income as the base, and net income means EBIT minus interest. So that's why here you can check out net income formula is EBIT, that is the interest earnings before interest and tax minus interest is equal to net income. So this is our net income. Second assumption is that the cost of debt, that is a KD, is less than equity capitalization rate, that is the cost of equity. Normally we know that the cost of debt is always less than cost of equity. We know that debt funds are the cheapest source for any company, and equity fund is the costliest source for any company. Accordingly, cost of debt is always lesser than cost of equity. The third assumption is that use of debt does not change the risk perception of the investor. It means that suppose if any company increasing more and more debt fund, obviously the objective is to minimize the overall cost of capital, as the cost of debt is the cheapest source. So if we increase the proportion of debt in our capital, cheaper sources will be increased, automatically our overall cost of capital will go down. But some author says that, or some theory says that, if the debt fund increases, the cost of capital will go down, overall cost of capital go down. But on the other hand, when the debt fund increases, risk of company will increase, and that increased risk will lead to increase the returns of equity shareholders from the company. Means equity shareholders will start assuming that because of increase in debt, company's risk has increased. Ultimately, their risk has increased. If their risk is increases, they will demand or they will expect more returns over existing level from the company. So ultimately, cost of equity will increase. So it means that when the cost of debt, because of increase in debt, overall cost of capital decreases, but that will compensate with the additional expectation of shareholders, and ultimately overall cost of capital will remain same. This is the approach of some of the theories. But in this case, they assume that increased debt will not compensate, means that will not make any change in the risk perception of the investors, that equity shareholders will not expect any more returns out of that. Even though debt increases or decreases, the specific cost of equity and specific cost of debt will remain constant. Suppose presently the cost of debt is 8%, even though debt are and cost of equity is 10%, even though the debt portion is increases, cost of equity will continue as 10% only. This is the interpretation of this assumption. Now, according to the NI approach, check out how to determine value of firm. Value of firm is equal to value of debt plus value of equity. Now, value of debt will always be directly available to us in the example, but value of equity will not be available because value of equity is based on net income. It means with the help of net income, we will have to calculate value of equity. How to calculate net income? That net income is EBIT minus interest. And how to calculate value of equity? That is earnings available to equity shareholders, means net income divided by equity capitalization rate, that is nothing but the cost of equity. So we are capitalizing our net income by the rate of equity capitalization or by the cost of equity capital, because we know that cost of capital means this is the opportunity cost of equity shareholders funds, or these are the expectation of equity shareholders from the company. So if we capitalize the company's net income at that rate, we get value of equity. So first, again I will repeat, first we have to calculate net income. Net income is equal to EBIT minus interest. Then we have to find out value of equity, that is earnings available to equity shareholders minus cost of equity or equity capitalization rate. And after that, value of firm, that is a V, is equal to value of debt plus value of equity. Symbolically, value of debt is equal to B and value of equity is equal to S. So this is so simple. We have to find out value of firm. Now look at the example. This is the example number 1. Example number 1. The company's annual EBIT is rupees 50,000. The company is financed by 10% debentures of rupees 2 lakhs and equity. The cost of equity, that is equity capitalization rate, is 12%. Find out value of firm and overall cost of capital as per net income, means NI approach. So just we have seen that is according to the NI approach, the value of firm is equal to value of debt plus value of equity. Now value of debt is given to us directly. Value of debt is rupees 2 lakhs, which is directly given to us. And the cost of debt is a 10%. Value of debt plus value of equity. Value of equity is equal to net income divided by equity capitalization rate. Out of that, equity capitalization rate is directly given to us, that is at 12.5%. But EBIT, that is EBIT is given, net income is not directly given to us. So first we will have to calculate net income. And net income means what? That is EBIT minus interest. That is EBIT minus interest. So EBIT is given in the example by rupees 50,000. You can check out. EBIT is rupees 50,000. Less interest. Interest on debt. Debt amount is rupees 2 lakhs. Interest rate is 10%. So 10% of 2 lakhs. So interest amount is 20,000. That is a 10% of 2 lakhs. Net income, that is equal to 30,000. So that is rupees 50,000 minus 20,000. Net income is equal to 30,000. So first factor we found out, that is a net income. So with the help of net income, the second step is to find out value of equity. Value of equity is equal to net income divided by equity capitalization rate. I will repeat, value of equity is equal to net income divided by equity capitalization rate. Net income we just calculated by rupees 30,000. Equity capitalization rate is available in the example. The cost of equity or equity capitalization rate is 12.5%, which is readily available to us. So equity capitalization rate 12.5%. So 30,000 divided by 12.5%. The value of equity is equal to 2,40,000. You can cross check it with the calculators. That is a 30,000 divided by 12.5%. Value of equity is equal to 2,40,000. So we got net income. With the help of net income, we have got value of equity. Now we want to find out value of firm, and value of firm is equal to value of equity plus value of debt. So value of equity, just we calculated here right now. So value of equity is equal to 2,40,000. So value of equity 2,40,000. Value of debt is given in the example, rupees 2 lakhs. 10% debentures of rupees 2 lakhs. So value of debt 2 lakhs. Value of firm is equal to 4,40,000. This is the main thing which we want to calculate, that is value of firm. So value of firm according to net income approach is rupees 4,40,000. Now we will calculate overall cost of capital. That is a KO. There are the two sources, equity and debt. Equity is given, equity just value we have calculated, 2,40,000. Debt amount 2 lakhs. So this is the amount of equity and amount of debt. Total capital is 4,40,000. Now these are the specific cost. Specific cost of equity is 12.5% given in the example. Cost of equity 12.5% and cost of debt is 10%. So cost of equity 12.5%, cost of debt 10%. Now we want to find out the weights or proportion. These are the weights. Means proportion of each capital on total capital. So that is, if you can check out 2,40,000 divided by 4,40,000, that comes to 0.55. So proportion of equity capital on total capital is 55% or 0.55. Now we can calculate on the same way the proportion of debt, that is 2 lakhs divided by 4,40,000, that comes to 0.45. So last one is a weighted cost. Last column is of weighted cost. So that is specific cost multiplied by weight, 12.5% multiplied by 0.55, that comes to 6.88%. For debt, 10% multiplied by 0.45, that comes to 4.5%. You can cross check all these calculation with calculator. Now the weighted average cost of capital or overall cost of capital, that is a weighted cost of equity plus weighted cost of debt, that comes to 11.38%. So it means overall cost of capital is 11.38. Now the market price. So here I am assuming that there are 2,400 shares right now. Now the market price of the equity is rupees 2,40,000. So market price of equity is 2,40,000. Right now I have assumed that there are 2,400 shares. So 2,400 market price is equal to 100. So here it is a market price. So here we have got value of firm 4,40,000. Overall cost of capital 11.38% and market price rupees 100. Now just check out example number 2. In example number 2, assume company raises additional debt of rupees 1 lakh to repurchase its shares. It means now over in comparison with the first example, company is going to raise additional debt of rupees 1 lakh to repurchase its shares. It means now the proportion of debt will increase and equity will go down. Debentures will increase and shares will go down. Rest of the things are the same. Company's annual EBIT is rupees 50,000. Revised capital structure will be 10% debentures of 3 lakhs because existingly there were 2 lakhs which will increase by 1 lakh. So now the debentures will be 3 lakhs and remaining is equity. Cost of equity is 12.5%. Again we have to calculate value of firm and overall cost of capital. So first we have to find out net income. Net income is equal to EBIT minus interest. EBIT is given 50,000. Interest will be 10% on 3 lakhs. So interest 10% on 3 lakhs, 30,000. So net income is equal to 20,000. Second step is to calculate value of equity. Value of equity is equal to net income divided by equity capitalization rate. Net income is 20,000. Equity capitalization rate is 12.5%. So 20,000 divided by 12.5%, value of equity is equal to 1,60,000. So once we get value of equity, now we can find out value of firm because value of firm is equal to value of equity plus value of debt. So value of equity 1,60,000. Value of debt is given in the example 3 lakhs. So value of debt 3 lakhs. Value of firm 4,60,000. That is simply 1,60,000 plus 3 lakhs. So value of firm is equal to 4,60,000. Overall cost of capital, equity 1,60,000, debt 3 lakhs, specific costs are same 12.5% and debt 10%. Proportion, that is a proportion of equity on total capital. This is 1,60,000 divided by 4,60,000, 0.35. This is 3 lakhs divided by 4,60,000, that is 0.65. Now you can check out where the proportion has increased. In first example, equity was 55%, debt was 45%. Means equity was more, debt was less. Now here, equity is less, debt is more. Equity is 35%, debt are 65%. Weighted cost, specific cost into weight, 12.5% into 0.35, 4.35. 10% into 0.65, 6.52%. Weighted average cost of capital is 10.87%. Now next one is market price of share. So earlier we assumed that there were 2,400 shares. Check out in the first example, there were 2,400 shares and the market price of each share was rupees 100. Now here company is increasing debentures of rupees 1 lakh to reduce equity capital by rupees 1 lakh. So इसका मतलब ये होता है कि company want to reduce its capital by rupees 1 lakh and each share is of rupees 100 each. Market price is 100. So number of shares will be, so that is a 1 lakh divided by 100. So number of shares will be 1000. So how many number of shares will reduce? Equity capital is going to reduce by rupees 1 lakh. Each share is of rupees 100 each. Means total 1000 shares will be reduced. So it means existing 2,400 shares now minus 1,000 shares. Now existing there will be the shares of 1,400. So existing shares will be now 1,400 after raising of additional debt and reduction of equity capital by rupees 1 lakh. So revised market price of equity share, we have got the value of equity 1,60,000. Number of equity shares 1,400. So market price is equal to 114.29. So you can check out in example 1, value of equity was 4,40,000. Weighted average cost was 11.38% and market price of equity share was 100. Now you check out in example 2, as the proportion got changes, all the three factors have changed. That's why it is called as a relevance theory. That means any change in mix of capital, that is a debt equity, will affect on value of firm, overall cost of capital and market price. You can check out earlier market price was 4,40,000. Now which is 4,60,000. Cost of capital was 10.87%. Sorry. Cost of capital was 11.38%. Now it is 10.87%. And market price of share was rupees 100. Now it is 114.29. You can check out this one. It means that now we can make the conclusion, when debt capital increases, value of firm and market price of share increases, whereas overall cost of capital goes down. You can check out in example 1 and example 2. Example 1, value of firm was 4,40,000. This is 4,60,000. Market price of share was 100. This is 114.29. Cost of capital was 11.38%. This is 10.87%. So there is a conclusion, when debt capital increases, value of firm and market price of share increases, whereas overall cost of capital decreases. Now on the same line, we will see the third example. In the third example, assume company raises additional equity of rupees 1 lakh to redeem the debentures. Means in comparison with example 1, अभी क्या हो रहा है कि that now equity will increase by 1 lakh and debentures will reduce by 1 lakh. EBIT 50,000. Now revised capital structure, debt will become 1 lakh because originally it was rupees 2 lakhs, which will reduce by rupees 1 lakh. So it will become 1 lakh. Cost of equity 12.5%. When we calculate net income, EBIT 50,000 less interest 10% of 1 lakh, that is a 10,000. So net income 40,000. So net income, once we got, we can find out the value of equity. Net income divided by equity capitalization rate. So net income is 40,000. Equity capitalization is 12.5%. So value of equity is equal to 3,20,000. That is a 40,000 divided by 12.5%. Once we get the value of equity, we can find out the value of firm. Value of equity plus value of debt, 3,20,000 plus now the debentures are rupees 1 lakh. So value of equity is 4,20,000. In example number 1, value of firm was 4,40,000. अब ये कम हो गया. This is 4,20,000. Overall cost of capital, equity 3,20,000, debt 1 lakh, total capital 4,20,000, cost of equity 12.5%, cost of debt 10%. Proportion 3,20,000 divided by 4,20,000, 0.76. 1 lakh divided by 4,20,000, 0.24. Let's check out in example number 1, equity was 55%. Debt was 45%. Now what is happening? Equity 76%. Equity और बढ़ गया और debt कम हुआ. Debt was 45%, वो 24% हुआ. Weighted cost 12.5% into 0.76, 9.52%. Debt 10% into 0.24, 2.38%. So weighted average cost of capital 11.9%. आप देख सकते हो example 1 it was 11.38%, example 3 11.9% means overall cost of capital बढ़ गई. Value of firm has gone down, overall cost of capital has increased, has gone up. The market price of equity share. In the example 1 we assume that there were 2,400 shares and market price was rupees 100. Now in this example company is issuing additional shares of rupees 1 lakh. So if company is issuing additional shares of rupees 1 lakh, each share is of rupees 100. So how many additional shares company will have to issue? 1,000. It means number of shares will increase by 1,000. Existing 2,400, additional 1,000. So total number of shares will be 3,400. Just we calculated market value of equity by 3,20,000. So market price of equity share 3,20,000 divided by 3,400. Market price is 94.118. We can say it as a 94.1. Check out in example 1. Market price was 100. Now here it is 94. Means market price also has gone down. Means in example number 3, equity portion has increased, but because of that, value of firm has gone down, market price has gone down, but overall cost of capital has gone up. So we can make the conclusion that when equity capital increases, value of firm and market price of share decreases. You can check out example 1. Value of firm 4,40,000. Market price 100. You can check out example number 3. Value of firm 4,20,000 gone down by rupees 20,000. Market price 94.12. It has also gone down by almost 5.82. So when equity capital increases, value of firm and market price of share decreases, whereas overall cost of capital increases. You can check out in example 1, overall cost of capital was 11.38%. And now here it is 11.9%. तो हमने 3 एग्जाम्पल देखे. Example second में we have increased debt. So as we have increased debt, our value of firm and market price of share has increased, but overall cost of capital has gone down. So company का overall cost of capital कम हुआ, उसका benefit shareholders की price पे हो गया because share price has increased. In example 1 and 3, we have reduced equity we have increased equity. We have increased equity but to reduce debt. So क्या हुआ? Equity increase हुआ, debt कम हुआ, so value of firm gone down, market price has gone down because overall cost of capital has increased. Company का cost of capital बढ़ गया, company की cost बढ़ गई. So if you see the conclusion, you can check out when debt funds are more than the equity, then the value of firm and market price of share increases. whereas overall cost of capital decreases. This is a comparative analysis of example number 1 and example number 2. You can check out when debt increases, that value of firm increases, market prices also increases, and overall cost of capital decreases. And that is why in the introduction you can see this is one of the assumption that cost of debt is less than cost of equity capital. ये अगर ऐसा है तो ही आपको ये रिजल्ट मिलेंगे. If equity cost of capital is more than cost of debt, then you will get exactly the opposite conclusions. So second conclusion is that when equity capital is more than debt, means when the equity increases and debt reduces, the value of firm, market price of share declines, whereas overall cost of capital increases. जब equity बढ़ती है तो value of firm will go down, share price will also go down, and overall cost of capital will go up. This is the comparative analysis of example 1 and 3. And after considering the conclusion, now the question is arises, then what is the optimum capital structure? So according to the net income approach, optimum capital structure as per the net income approach is when debts are more than equity. So as we have seen the example number 2, that value of firm was highest 4,60,000. Share value was also highest, that was 114, and ultimately that is our objective, that is to maximize the wealth of equity shareholders. So if we want to maximize the wealth of equity shareholders, so we have to go for the second approach, that is when debt should be more than equity, where we will get the optimum capital structure as per the net income approach. So again we can just revise net income approach. Formula is value of firm is equal to value of debt plus value of equity. Value of equity is equal to earning available to equity shareholders, that is a net income, divided by equity capitalization rate, and net income is equal to EBI minus interest. And ultimately, as per the NI approach, debt portion should have to be more than equity. I hope you have understood this example, this theory. Just go through it, calculate at your own. Regarding any query or comment, you can freely contact me. You can write your comments in the comment box on YouTube channel itself. Otherwise, in the beginning, my email address is also mentioned. You can even email it to me. Thank you very much.